Well, welcome back, Molly. I'm really glad that you came back to see me again. I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to work with you. In our first session, we talked a lot about a lot of the anxiety that you're experiencing and talked a lot about your family and your life and what therapy is going to look like. So I wondered if today you could just tell me a little bit more about what's going on with you.
Yeah, I feel like recently, I've been feeling really distressed about whether or not to pursue a relationship with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Jared, and he's actually who I went to high school with. He was like my high school sweetheart.
Okay.
And I've dated a lot of guys since.
Mm-hmm.
Jared actually was the one that broke up with me, and I remember feeling so distressed.
Yeah.
So sad. And now all of a sudden, he's like he's really close with my family. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's like another part of, like, my mom loves him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess part of me's like, should I, like, now he's like been coming around a lot. He's
Mm-hmm.
like he'll, whenever he comes home from California, he also like stops by my house.
Mm-hmm.
And he just seems to be like really like he came with my family on a camping trip,
Okay.
and he seems to really like want to pursue a relationship. He's like, oh, that was a fun date the other night. And so in my head, I'm thinking, okay, he wants to pursue a relationship. And we're like going to Disneyland together soon.
Wow.
In a couple months.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. So like all these things. But in my head, I'm so analytical
Uh-huh.
that I'm thinking about all the different things, all the different factors, because he's in the Navy right now.
Okay.
For the next like 5 to 10 years. So that means
That's a long time.
so he'll be like at different bases and have to travel all the way around the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So if I really wanted to even pursue this relationship, I like to date with a purpose.
Sure.
So I see in the future all the different things. And so I'm just having so many anxieties coming up about if we were to date or whatnot.
What that would look like.
Yeah.
So, if I could kind of recap everything that I just heard, I want to make sure I get it right. Jared is someone that you really cared about when you were in high school,
Mm-hmm.
but things ended between the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of went your separate ways. So
Yeah.
you've dated other guys since then, but
Mm-hmm.
he's still kind of been there, like in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you're in this new season of life, he's actually pursuing a relationship again.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's a really big part of your life. If he's spending a lot of time with your family and you guys have gone camping together,
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you probably feel pretty comfortable with him.
Yeah, and I feel like even more comfortable now than ever. And I think that's why, too, he's realizing, like, oh, I like this girl, and I'm realizing, oh, I like him. But I think it's really tough because I'm thinking about my life, and I'm a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So it means I would have to stop teaching
Sure.
and get a new school every year or whenever he needs to move. And then my dad doesn't really like him.
Okay.
So that's been really, like, stressful because I feel like I love him.
Mm-hmm. You love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's, like, one of those things where I'm like, wow, like, I enjoy spending time with him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we both go to church together.
Mm-hmm.
We're both Christian. And that's where I actually met him, too, in high school, was
Okay.
at church. And he's just been on my mind. And my dad, though, I think he just, I don't know, it's just frustrating that he'll say things like, oh, you can find someone better or something like that. But I mean, I'm 26 and like, I feel like I've already dated so many guys and I feel like,
You haven't found better.
No.
Yeah, that's got to be kind of hard to hear when you're like in love with this person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your face kind of lights up when you talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell that he's really important to you.
Yes.
But I can also see there's this tension of a lot of uncertainty that would come with this relationship if he's going to be going into the military. It can be a really scary thing.
Yeah. It makes me nervous too, thinking about like I've had some nightmares recently about him getting hurt, and like I know that if I were to pursue a relationship with him in potential marriage, that this would be my life. And so I would be picking up my life. I wouldn't be around my family, who I'm really close to. And I wouldn't be around all the people I love. I would be kind of lonely. What if we broke up?
Sure. Then you'd be, so there's a lot of risk there with pursuing this, because it sounds like you said you're a teacher. You've got some stability now with being near your family and your job, and
I know I wouldn't be lonely.
Right.
Like, I mean, I know right now I'm not lonely, whereas with this situation, I could be very lonely.
You could get hurt.
Yeah, which is scary, because I've been hurt by him before.
Yeah, you probably remember what that feels like.
Yeah, it was very painful. Someone that I loved, just like ending things with me. Yeah. And I felt like it took forever to get over. I remember just feeling like, oh my gosh, like, will I ever find someone better than him? And
go ahead.
And I felt like I had no control over the situation either. Like, he just kind of ended things, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, you were kind of in this situation of, I want to be with you, and it was just over.
Yeah. And I think, too, like, I remember feeling like, wait a minute, like, I can't, like, I feel helpless. Like, oh man, like, here's this person that I love, and they're just leaving me.
You can't do anything about it.
Yeah. And I feel like I know that he potentially could be the one that I, like, marry. You know, I feel like I'm getting to that age. But then again, how much of a, like, there's all these, like, pros and cons. Like, how much of a stress would it be on me? Like, would I be, like, worried all the time that he's going to be okay? Like, in the Navy, there's all these, I don't know, there's all this risk.
It's a scary thing to have someone that you love that dearly potentially be in danger.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're saying, you know, that if you did pursue a relationship with him, that wouldn't go away.
Yeah.
You would have 5 to 10 years of that, and that's really scary.
Yeah, and away from my family, who I'm so close to. Like,
your support system.
Like, I can't imagine being a teacher even, and not having those people around me that, I mean, I would have to, like, remake friends, and then pick up my life, and remake new friends, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it takes time sometimes to develop friendships.
It does. Yeah.
Like, you make a friend, and then if you leave, like, it's not like all of a sudden someone just becomes your best friend. I mean, that has happened to me before, but, like, I feel like sometimes, like, to grow those relationships, especially with teachers, they're so busy that, like, you can have those work friends, but what about those people that, like, I don't know, I'm the type of person who likes to be around people and, like, doesn't like just to be alone. And
people fill you up.
Yes.
Especially people you love.
Yes. So I feel like it would be a huge loss to leave everything for him. And I don't even know why I'm so stressed about this, because it's not like we're married or anything. But I guess I just think about these things beforehand.
Yeah. I can see why you're stressed about this. It sounds like you have some really big decisions in front of you, and you're torn between, I love this man, maybe on some level you waiting for him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not like intentionally waiting for him,
Yeah.
but like this is something you've known him for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and he's come back,
Mm-hmm.
and you love him, and he feels like he's part of your family.
Mm-hmm.
You want that, but also in order to be in relationship with him and to have that,
Mm-hmm.
you use the word loss. There's some
Mm-hmm.
loss of stability and support and
Mm-hmm.
proximity to your family.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a lot to be
Mm-hmm.
kind of feeling all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's there's so much on my mind all the time, and
Yeah.
like when I'm teaching, sometimes I just start getting up into my head and thinking about everything that I
Mm-hmm.
like. I don't know. I just think about the whole relationship, and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
like there's never been a guy that I've liked more. Like so
Mhm.
that's the good thing about it, and then there's the
Yeah.
cons of all the stuff that I'd be losing.
Yeah.
But it's like, is it worth it to wait those 10 years of going through that?
So you can have some stability again.
Mm-hmm. And then if I were to have kids, I think about that too. And like, if I were to have kids, like, they wouldn't have their dad around much.
Right.
So I just worry about all these things and
Yeah.
worry about like, what my life would be like. And I've never lived that far from my
Yeah.
family, so I could. Here I'm in Oregon. I could be all the way in Florida.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
Or another country.
yeah.
These are big things.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hearing is they're starting to affect your life just in the day-to-day. You're having
Mhm.
trouble focusing on teaching because these concerns and these decisions are just kind of permeating every aspect of your life now.
Yeah. And then I feel like my dad just says he doesn't like them, but I think my dad really just wants me to stay home
Sure.
and not be going away really far. And that's the reason why he doesn't like him. So then my dad, I feel like we've been a little more distant recently, and that's been kind of distressing.
You were closer with your dad before?
Yeah. And now it's like, I feel like I don't really talk to him as much. It's more like, eat dinner. Oh, thanks, Dad. Like,
Yeah.
he'll ask, like, how's your day? Like, oh, students were good. Taught this today. But it's not like going deeper into stuff or like talking about how I'm feeling and all that kind of stuff that we used to do. It just feels more stale.
You used to have a closer, more intimate relationship with him.
Yeah. And now it's just,
Kind of surface level, small talk.
yes. Uh-huh.
So maybe on some level, this loss that you're really afraid that if you pursue this, you're going to experience a loss with the relationship with your family. And it kind of seems like maybe that's already starting to happen with your dad.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of already happening. So I think I'm just kind of feeling the effects of that. As this relationship goes on, I'm feeling the effects of losing family and kind of being distant from them already. And so kind of gives me a glimpse into what my life could be like. And I feel like, I don't know, that would be really, really sucky.
Yeah, sucky. It would be
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, like really awful, because I feel like my dad is one of those people that I've been the closest to in my life. Like, we go hiking together and like do trips together, and I don't know, he was there for me. He was there for me when Jared and I broke up. Like, very like, okay, everything, like, I don't know, he was very supportive and like affirming me that like there's other guys out there for me and stuff like that. And so he was always there for me like during hard times, and I've always had his support. And so I think not having that now.
He's been a constant for you.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's weird that he's acting this way, because him, like, I think it's my dad. My dad just doesn't want me gone. I don't think it's really Jared, because Jared's, like, a good guy. But I think maybe he just wants his daughter to be around, kind of a thing. Like, my dad wants me to not leave him, kind of a thing.
So maybe he's starting to anticipate that potential loss, too.
Yeah, that's true. So he's feeling the effects of that. And I think, too, like, I don't know, I just get stressed when I think about, like, even the little things. Like, moving is a ton of work. Like,
it's a ton of work.
And so, like, moving all that, like, it's always been kind of a stressful thing in my family. Like, we've had to move a few times, and change is really hard. And so just anticipating all that change and that newness kind of brings that anxiety of not knowing what's going to happen. And
yeah, so change is difficult.
And the uncertainty of where things are going, where I feel like pretty certain where my life is. If I were to just stay here. And if I were just to stay here, like, and just not date him, like, everything would be the same, but then I would always wonder what would happen if I did continue with Jared. Kind of like I have been the past few years. What would happen if I did end up with him?
Yeah, so as you're describing this, I'm hearing a lot about uncertainty and the fear that goes with that. And I kind of have this visual of you right now in your life that has been very constant and supportive, and had companionship and intimacy with your family. And it's a really comfortable place to be. And it almost seems like, as you're describing what it would look like to go forward with Jared, I have this visual of you putting a blindfold on and him kind of leading you by the hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you don't really know where you're going to go. You just kind of have to trust that things will work out.
Yeah, and trusting is really tough.
Yeah.
To, like, trust that everything will work out and that, like, God will take care of me. I mean, it's not that I would never see Jared, but I think our relationship probably wouldn't be as strong. He'll be gone more than half the time, probably. So I'd be sacrificing anyway when I'm with him.
Hard.
Yeah.
And I heard you mention, like, what if we broke up?
Yes. Yeah.
What if you would be out and away from your family with this blindfold on?
Yeah, and that's really scary to me. Like, what if we ended up breaking up, and then, like, when we're dating, it's good to, like, be at least living in the same town. So not even having that. I mean, me staying in Oregon would be good, so I have to do that. But then if we broke up, it'd be like, oh my gosh, like, what happened to, like, now I have to, like, pick up my life all on my own, like,
again.
And I mean, I would move back to Oregon. But what if I was in, like, a teaching position that was, like, a year-long contract? I would just be alone without him at all. Not even, like, half the time without him at all. And yeah, so I think that would be really hard. And then I'm so close with my mom. Like, we talk all the time. So, like, being away from my mom, like, only being able to talk on the phone would be really hard for me. I think I would get pretty homesick. Like, I remember when I went away for college, I only lived, like, 2 hours away, and I got super homesick. Like, I would go home and visit on the weekends, whereas now I couldn't go home and visit on the weekends. I would have to, like, basically just deal with it, kind of a thing, because it's expensive to keep flying back, and so that brings up anxiety. And sometimes when I think about that, I get kind of panicky, kind of get a panic attack. Or my heart starts racing, and I just kind of have to like try and calm myself down.
Okay. Can you say a little bit more about that? About what that's like for you?
Yeah, so I just kind of like get really shaky and start thinking about like, oh my gosh, I'm so far away and what's gonna happen, like it's like this stuck, like in my mind it's like this stuck feeling of like, oh my gosh, I won't be able to go back, and like it'll waste all my money, and
be trapped. You feel trapped.
Yeah, it's this worry of being trapped. And I sometimes would get that in college, but I knew I had the option of coming home. And I could drive home and stuff. But being so far away, it's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm going to have this panic. And I've had a couple panic attacks in my life. And they're so scary.
Yeah, they are scary.
Like, I don't want to go through them again. And I just kind of anticipate like this, like not wanting to feel that. I don't know.
Yeah, so you started having these panic attacks when you're in college and you're separate from your family, but you're able to comfort yourself knowing that they're not that far away and I can go to them if I need them. But now you're worrying, what if I move to the other side of the country and I start having these panic attacks and there's no one there for me?
Yeah. And I mean, I know I could like try and find a counselor or something, but that's still not the same. That's not gonna fix anything. Or it's not gonna fix it might help, but it's not gonna fix the fact that I'm like still far away from my family.
Yeah. It sounds like your family's really important to you.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we've been through some like tough circumstances, like where like even my little sister, she went through chemo, she had leukemia, and so just like going through that whole process, and so just like knowing that life is so fragile, and that's been something like huge in my family, and so like wanting to be close with her and like everyone in my family, and not wanting to leave anyone, because like what if something happened to them too? I think that's a thought that goes through my head, like what would happen if like my mom got cancer and then I'm away from her for 10 years? Like people don't live forever.
So it's not even just what would happen for you if you moved away, but there's this layer of what if something happens to my family and I can't get back to them?
Yes. Yeah. Like someone got cancer or anything like that. And I guess I could just kind of move back home and be really far away from Jared. But still, that's a long time.
Yeah. So you almost have to choose between a long-distance relationship with your family and potentially a long-distance relationship with Jared.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, I could just have a long-distance relationship with him. But of course I want to have kids, and I want to have a family, and so I would want to be married and close to him, because I want him to be close to his kids. So there's just all these things that kind of I just ruminate and obsess over, and
there's a lot of things.
Yeah. I feel like I've just kind of like spilled out my whole brain in here. It's just like all these things.
This is the place for you to do that. I'm
Yeah.
happy to hold all of the things that come out of your brain and your heart.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Because it's like such a huge burden. It's like picking between someone you love versus the family you love. Family versus And I guess it's not that I couldn't love my family too, but it'd be just like distant. Distance with
separation.
Distance between my boyfriend, potential husband, versus distance between my family. And then there's no certainty either.
Right.
With Jared.
Right.
Or there's certainty with my family.
Your family's been there your whole life.
Mm-hmm. But I want to like fly off per se and like live my life and have a family and do all those things and like I want to pursue like and move on in my life.
Yeah.
But I wish he just wasn't going to the military. Yeah. So
you want to be you and you want to build your own life separate from your family.
Mm-hmm.
But still close to your family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Living like the ideal would be like living like 10 minutes away. Like
right.
My grandparents, I mean, we go over there, we've like grown up with them, gone over there for holidays, like Thanksgiving and all those fun things, you know, and so it's like, I don't know, I've just like grown up and done all these things and so they've been a big part of my life and I want my kids to have their grandparents as part of their life. That's another little aspect. And like also, for instance, like we used to go like have like sleepovers over there and just like become really close with them. And so anyway, there's just all these little things that I'm like, would my kids have that? I wouldn't want to deprive them of that. So anyway, just like that close proximity I feel like is so important.
You want your kids to be able to have the strong family foundation that you grew up with.
Yes, because that's so foundational to like who I've been,
to who you are, and who you've been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like for me, it's having that stability has been so important. Like going through school and just kind of keeping me like feeling well and not anxious. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm so anxious now is because I won't have that stability. And so being away from them brings up all these anxieties in my head. Even though it's never happened before, I like anticipate this potentially happening.
Yeah. You haven't used the word safety, but I wonder if your family makes you feel safe.
Yeah, they do make me feel safe in so many different aspects of my life, just like having a home and I don't know, they like just help me in everyday life with just random stuff that I go through. And
they're your emotional support.
Yes,
And so the fact that you're even considering distancing yourself from that tells me that Jared is really important to you.
Yes, he is.
That you're considering starting a family with him so far away.
Yeah, that's true. For me to even be considering this shows how much I love him and how much I like can see a future with him.
You really care about him.
I do really care about him.
Yeah. I know you've said in describing this that these are little things and you just don't even understand why, but these are big things.
That's true.
And I wonder what it would be like for you to just sit with that, the bigness of all of this, and that this is a really big, I mean, you're talking about changing your whole life.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot for anyone.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I'm really glad you came to talk to me. We're kind of coming to the end of our time today. But I'd love to continue to meet with you if you want to continue to use this as a place to kind of pour out your brain.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to hold those things for you and help you walk through this.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That sounds like this session was already really helpful for me. So talking more about it and just letting it out, because I feel like I haven't been able to let this stuff out because, of course, my family's biased and, of course, Jared's biased.
Right. They both know what they think you should do.
Yes. So this is really helpful to have, like, you who who just can listen to me and give me.
I'm here for you.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, helps out.
Does the same time work next week?
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, I have to log in before I can.